Hey guys, happy Sunday. So a few months ago, or actually back in September, well, this year's already flying by. Back in September, I did a two-part series where I was redoing my friend Denise's bedroom, and she has a very kind of bohemian style. The first part of that series was a DIY boho room decor, and you guys loved it. It is my most popular video on my channel. There are actually a few DIYs that I've been wanting to do for a while that are very kind of bohemian inspired. These are gonna be a little more on the small side, but still equally as beautiful. So let's get started. So for our first DIY and our first project, it's actually something that I've wanted to do for a while now, making a punch needle pillow. I've done one punch needle thing before a long time ago. It's basically a type of embroidery, make tons of cool prints. The thing about punch needle is that you actually need a specific tool in order to create the loops, and working with larger yarn, thicker yarns, is actually easier to punch needle. So you actually need a tool that fits those yarns. So this is one that I got. This is called the Oxford punch needle tool, and you see how big the hole is. And so this is the tool that we are actually going to punch. Now there's lots of different lengths here that determine how big your loops are. Also find these that are adjustable. I will link this one below. I found it from a cute little shop. Also going to need is monk's cloth. Basically a loose weave fabric. An equivalent to monk's cloth would be a loose weave linen. I'm actually using yarns that I already have in my DIY studio. The ones that I have that are thick enough, they're very neutral. And I also have these two colors that are really beautiful. I think they're gonna be a little on the smaller side, so I don't think that they're gonna be able to work out with this tool, but we can try. Find a embroidery hoop, or I have this inside of a old canvas. So what we're gonna do first is attach our monk's cloth to the frame pretty tight, because we want it to be able to be really taut when we're working with the yarn. And then we're gonna attach it with a staple gun. You could also do it with like little nails. I just kind of stapled it on there really taut so that it kind of is like a trampoline. Kind of sketch out our design. So we are gonna need a pencil. I want it to be kind of like abstract lines where there's patches and sections, like basically like color blocking. Just kind of draw out wavy blocks here and there. Nothing too crazy. I don't want it to be like just really random. Something like that. So here is our rough design, just really abstract. I'm just gonna start with this dark charcoal color, and I'm gonna start in this bottom section here. How you thread these babies, it needs to go through the needle hole at the top. And then this one's really simple because it already has this splice in the handle, and then it just goes into that splice, just like that. And you don't want any pulling on this yarn. You want it to be really loose and have a lot of slack so that it doesn't start to pull out your loops. We're gonna go for it. So you want to outline first through the top. So you want to follow that line. So you're gonna stick into one of the holes. You want your needle to go all the way through. That's gonna keep consistency in the loops on the other side. So to start, we want to pull this little guy through the back. So you're just gonna pull him to the back and then hold on to it. That's gonna be kind of like the starting point. How many holes in the monk's cloth you skip is completely up to you. You wanna keep your needle as close to the monk's cloth as possible. You don't want to like pull too far away. Like you don't wanna be up here and then you go down again. Go into the fabric all the way, start to pull up, and I'm holding it on the other side with my fingers. Again. And once you get going, you can start going pretty quickly, actually. I'm going pretty slow to start. You can see that there are little loops on the other side. And then part of your design could be either to keep them as loops or to go back and cut the loops so that they stick straight up and create like a little pom-pom effect, but just a flat pom-pom, holding on to it as it comes out, and then I'm gonna follow the line that way. Letting the hole lead the direction I'm going in. So I don't ever wanna like twist it around like that, because it's gonna start creating tension on the threads and then like start to pull them out. So I don't want that. Okay, so once you outline your entire section, you're going to start on the inside and then outline it again, and then again, and again, and again, and again, until you get all the way to the center. Another option is to kind of go like this. I'm gonna follow the same line and go around and around and around all the way into the center. How this is gonna go is I'm going to actually work on this at night, tonight, while I'm watching TV, because it's gonna be a very repetitive process and literally just doing it the exact same way. Hey guys, okay, future MaCenna, more comfy MaCenna, obviously, but I was up probably until like 2:30 in the morning. So clearly this is, you can totally do both of these projects in one day, but I don't know if it's advisable. I don't know if I would tell you to, but you guys, look. I love this so much. It would be so beautiful as a pillow, a wall hanging. There's so many different things that you could do. So I did, you may notice, it's a little skinnier than I originally was going for. You can see that I cut off like about 5 inches off the top. I was like, wow, I overestimated how much time this was going to take. So you can see that the majority of it is all loops. And I did one section that was the backwards version. So the loops are actually on the other side of this tan section. I just thought it gave like some really cool dimension, and that's where it would come in handy if you had an adjustable punch hole needle. I think for my first time doing a pillow and my first time doing punch needle in a really long time, it's not half bad, but I do think that practice makes perfect. I feel like you get better at making sure that your loops are a little more consistent, that you're filling in and using the right type of yarn. This beigey type of yarn was a little too thin, and I can see some of the underneath monk's cloth still there, but it's neutral and neutral. I think for my first time, this is not bad. I need to take it off of the frame. I love this so much. Basically just gonna sew a very simple back part of the pillow, and we're gonna sew the 4 sides together. You could also totally do a zipper. I'm gonna do a lot more of these, so I'll probably have loads more tips later on. So I just have a piece of like kind of matching canvas that I'm going to be sewing as the back. So we're just gonna lay that right on top. Pins, I'm just gonna pin it all together and then take out the sewing machine and sew it up. You wanna kind of brush or push the loops to the inside so that they're kind of out of your way when you're gonna be sewing it together. You could also totally sew this by hand on top of a pre-existing pillow. Put it on top of the existing pillowcase and then just stitch it around the edges. So for our next DIY, I've been wanting to make a macrame style rug. Nothing crazy big, just kind of like a half circle macrame rug perfect for like a bathroom or your kitchen sink or something like that. You can also do it in different colors. You can order kind of different colored macrame cording. And so here's what I was kind of thinking. Definitely a half circle. So you can see it has a straight line along the top. You don't want the knots to be crazy like thick because you're gonna be walking on it. So you don't want it to like actually hurt your feet. And then obviously it'll have fringe along the sides, which will be really interesting and really cool. So direction to go in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so first what you're gonna need to do is determine how big you want your rug to be. And I want mine to be 30 inches wide without the fringe, because I feel like the fringe is just going to be a little bit extra. So we need to measure out a cord that's 30 inches plus the little bit of fringe that we want. So I think the fringe will be pretty if it's about like between 2 and 3 inches long. So if I want that on each side, I'm gonna go with 36 inches to start, because we could always trim. So when in doubt, go over what you need. That's gonna act as our pole or anchor, something that we can wrap the rest of the macrame cording around to build our rug. I just always find when I do macrame projects, they always end up being smaller than I want them to be. So I'm gonna err on the side of more. So if we want it to finish at 20, I want each cord to be 60 inches. See, that sounds like a lot, but I think that that's gonna work. So 60 inches, and then it's gonna be doubled. It's gonna be looped at the top. So 120 inches. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna triple it. I'm gonna go for it. So I'm gonna cut 12 pieces of macrame cording at 120 inches each. We are gonna be attaching them to our anchor cord, this one, using the lark's head knot. You're gonna fold your strand in half, matching up the two ends. On the other side, it's going to have a loop. You're gonna do the lark's head knot. You're gonna go over your anchor strand, over, and then it's gonna create a loop. So your loop is gonna be on the back, and then you're gonna pull those two strands through the loop. And you're basically attaching it. This is our knot to attach it to our anchor. So to start, we're just gonna attach 2 of our strands. We're gonna start actually making the semicircle knotting technique. I have found that whatever hand you're dominant in, so if you are right-handed, it's gonna be much easier for you to go from the right to the left than it will be for you to go to the left, from the left to the right. I don't know why. I think our brains can't flip and go backwards for some reasons. This far strand, you're not gonna mess with either. I'm gonna put that out of the way. This now is going to become your anchor strand. And then these 2 strands are gonna be looping around that. You're gonna hold this anchor strand in place, so just keep it in your hand. Then this one, 3rd strand from the left, is going to loop around it. And we're gonna be doing the double half hitch knot. Loop over that anchor strand and through, so that the loop is sitting on top. You can tell that it's just like looped around, and you're gonna go up and pull up to the top. And then you're gonna do that again. This is gonna create the finished knot, the second knot to the double. That through, you can tell it's still sitting on top, and pull tight. Now you created your first double half hitch. Second strand, you're gonna do the same thing, over and through, and then over and through. Okay, you can see that it's starting to form that circle around this center one. And now what we're gonna do is attach this back up to this top pole. To do that, you're gonna go over the top strand and then through this side. This is gonna create the first part. Then you're gonna pull over to this side, and you're gonna go under like that, and then through. And it kind of creates the lark's head knot. You just have to wrap your head around it once, and then you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, so we've got our first semicircle made. Now we're gonna be starting another row working from the right to the left. Grab another strand, fold it in half, matching up the ends, and we're gonna attach this again using the lark's head knot. So it's gonna go over, under. So once you have that attached, we're gonna be working from this side, going over to the left. So you're gonna take that first strand and get it out of your way. That's not gonna be messed with. And then this second strand is going to become your anchor. And you'll see that if you're right-handed, this is gonna be a lot easier to go this direction. So you're gonna hold on to that with your hand, taking the 3rd strand from the right. This is going to loop over, creating that first double half hitch. So over and through, and then pull tight, and you can see the loop is sitting right on top, creating one more, going over and through, and then pull tight. And then moving on to the next strand, you're just gonna continue that all the way to the other side. Okay, so I just did the last loop here, and sometimes you'll see that there's just this gap here. There's a gap between, I don't have anything else to do a double half hitch on, and it's a little too far to just kind of reattach it up here. I just grab another strand onto this anchor cord. I'm gonna attach it, and instead of doing a lark's head knot where you go over and under, I'm gonna go under and then over and through. This is called a cow hitch knot. It's basically just backwards lark's head, and then there's no gap. You're literally just gonna keep going with this. So I'm gonna create about 10 of these swoops. So I'm gonna keep going like that, and then I will see you guys in a second. you know, like over an hour later, I have finally got, I actually did 11 rows, and that's counting like the first lark's head knot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I feel like that was a good size. Next, we're gonna kind of do these like square knot, a row of square knots, like following that same kind of like half circle shape. In order to do a square knot, you need 4 strands. So 2 are gonna stay stationary in the center, and then the outside 2 are going to kind of like create the square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 square knots. You take the 2 side strands, those are going to kind of wrap around these 2 center ones. It looks like a pretzel to me. So taking the left strand, loop it over the middle 2, okay, and then take the right strand, go over that 4 tail that you have, then underneath and through, like that. And it kind of looks like a pretzel, doesn't it? Like a pretzel. And then you're going to pull tight. And this is wherever you actually want your square knot to be. I don't know if I want it to go all the way up. I think I want a little bit of spacing there. So then what you're gonna do is do it reversed. So we're gonna go backwards. So a 4, backwards 4, and then over that tail, underneath, and then pull through, creating a pretzel again, just the opposite way. And then pull tight. I'm just gonna do that every 4 pieces and 4 sets of 4 strands that I have. I'm gonna do that same look, and then we'll create like another layer. So taking 2 from the first square knot, and then 2 from the second, and then creating 1 here. Just giving a little more pattern or dimension for it. So it's literally the same way. So now that we have those 2 rows of square knots, we're gonna continue with like this circular double half hitch knot. 100 inches, 6 pieces. Okay, so taking one of your new strands, folding it in half with the 2 ends matching up, and then on the other side a loop, we're gonna do the same thing, attach it to our anchor, our top part, with the lark's head knot. Okay, and the first one you're not gonna deal with, so you're just gonna put that off to the side. And then you're going to do the exact same thing that we did to start with. So this is gonna be your anchor, and then it's gonna go over and start that double half hitch, and then once more, and then keep going all the way to the other side, over to the right side, the same way. Okay, so I added 6 more rows of this kind of semicircle double half hitch. Now what I'm gonna do is add another section like this with the square knots to here. And so it's gonna start, so you can see that some of these are getting quite short. So I hope they make it all the way. So a tip would be the ones that you start with here in the center, make those the longest measurement. So we're gonna do the square knot the same way. Kinsley. Taking the 4 strands, and then you loop over and create that pretzel, and then pulling tight, and then going back the opposite way. And then coming back with 1 more row, just like we did before, just to kind of fill in the space a little more. Just 2 more rows like this here, 2 to 3 actually on the edge, and then we're gonna fringe it. So we're almost there. The 2 other rows are in. I actually think that it would be really pretty with an additional row, but some of my strands are getting really short, so I'm gonna stop it here. But if you guys do wanna do another row, I would suggest just making your starting point longer than what I did. I started at 120 inches. Now we're just gonna go around and cut all of the fringe. I'm gonna start at 5 and then see. And so this is gonna fringe naturally, kind of like at the edges, kind of separate, but you could choose to leave it like this or go ahead and fringe them all out. I actually like the fringe to look better. It just looks a little more like filled in, not so sparse. So I just take Kinsley's dog brush, and starting from the bottom, I just work my way up, separating all of the strands. You can separate them out with your hands too first and then brush them out. Then you can go back and trim it some more. But that is it, guys. Wow, that project was pretty large, but it came out really pretty. Also, you guys, I have tons of DIY bohemian inspired room decor, other types of DIY room decor. I'm gonna link a playlist below so that you guys can check all of them out. So I hope you guys enjoyed these bohemian inspired DIYs for home decor, and you could do so many different patterns, so many different techniques and styles in these DIYs, which I really like about them. And if you did like this video, definitely hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not already part of our DIY family here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I post new home decor, room makeovers, thrift flips when we can get back into the thrift stores every Sunday, so you guys aren't going to want to miss them. So definitely hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye, guys. I'm going to try and explain that a lot better. Oh, that did not right at all. McKenna, get it together. What are you thinking? Okay.